Okay, so here in Zambia, we have a common metal which we have as a mineral, and that is copper. And so we are not going to go through all the processes that are involved in extracting copper, but we'll start on the reduction process. So the common ore from where copper is extracted is copper 1 sulfide, which is this one you're seeing here. Now this copper 1 sulfide, it undergoes what is known as reduction. How does that happen? Oxygen here is reacted with copper 1 sulfide, and when that happens, this sulfur combines with oxygen and remains with copper alone. Now remember, the copper that you've gotten here is not a pure copper, and this copper has to undergo purification. So to purify the copper, we undergo the process known as electrolysis. Now, electrolysis, what you should know is it has to be passed through electricity. So now, what happens is you have a solution here. This solution is called copper 2 sulfate solution. It has to be solution. It has to be copper 2 sulfate solution. Then here is a cell or a battery, then the positive terminal, the negative terminal. Here, the negative terminal is connected to the anode, which is the electrode, and the cathode is the negative terminal. So what happens is you get the impure copper and put it at the anode there. When you put it at the anode, what happens is what will happen is the pure copper will be going this side, will be going to the cathode, meaning that this part will be reducing, but this part will be increasing. As the pure copper is going, remember that there are impurities, so impurities will be falling down. And these impurities that fall down here form what is known as a sludge, which is either silver or gold, meaning that anything foreign apart from copper, it is an impurity, which is a sludge. So what will happen is you form a large thing this side. So this is what you should know about electrolysis of copper. So now there are some equation that takes place. For example, at anode, what happens is the copper loses. It loses some electrons. This is the reason why you are seeing a positive. And when it loses some electrons, what happens to it? It reduces. But the copper at the cathode gains, meaning you are forming the pure copper here. So now, what are the uses of copper? The uses of copper, for example, that we have, it is used in making alloys. I'm sure you know what alloys is. We talked about them earlier. It is used in making coils. Then it is used in making ornaments. Ornaments like the rings, the necklaces. Then it can also be used to make electric cables, and also cooking utensils like pots, pans. We use the copper. So this is what you should know about extraction of metals. So remember, we looked at iron, we looked at zinc, and we looked at copper also. So now what you should know is that metals are being used in different ways. For example, they can be used to make cookers. Metals can be used to make alloys. And then we talked about this. So the same uses we talked about for the other metals like zinc, we can also apply them here. We appreciate you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so what you should know is that an alloy is when you mix metals, you form what is known as an alloy. That is another thing that you should bear in mind also. Thank you for watching this session.